Identity is important because it's the way that you show up. It's the way that you present yourself to the world. It's the way that you act, that you feel, that you see. Everything is attached to your own identity. And so, what I try and encourage artists to do is when they're getting to that stage, you know what, I want to sell my art, people are asking to buy it, or I have sold a few things. If you're pricing your art as a hobbyist or pricing your art as a professional artist, there's going to be a big difference there. So, identity work is really important. Hello, I'm Ciara Gilmore, and welcome back to Light Between the Layers podcast. And today we're going to be diving into your artist's identity.
Awesome. And I'm Esther. I'm the podcast producer. And my first question is, what does artist identity mean and why is it so important?
So it's something that I've been kind of diving into recently. It's about who you are as an artist. It's about embodying the identity of an artist. And I'll give you an example. So whenever you're starting out as an artist and you're maybe dabbling in watercolors or abstract or whatever it is that you want to do, you call yourself probably a hobbyist, somebody who is just dabbling with art. So when I talk about the artist's identity, I'm really referring to the time when you get to the point where you want to sell your art, you want to develop an art business, potentially part-time or full-time, and establishing a firm identity of a professional artist is really, really important. Because if you go into a new art business that you're setting up and you want to sell your art and you're still in the hobbyist identity, it's not going to work. It's not going to transfer. So, identity is important because it's the way that you show up. It's the way that you present yourself to the world. It's the way that you act, that you feel, that you see. Everything is attached to your own identity. And so, what I try and encourage artists to do is when they're getting to that stage, you know what, I want to sell my art, people are asking to buy it, or I have sold a few things. You know, if you go to price your art, if you're pricing your art as a hobbyist or pricing your art as a professional artist, there's going to be a big difference there. So, identity work is really important. And it's kind of like an inner and an outer thing. So, for example, your inner identity is how you see yourself and how you present yourself to the world. So I'm encouraging artists to see themselves as that professional artist that's selling consistently, that is being well respected, and that is professional. And every action and every behavior, everything you do is based on that identity. Because then you're going to be showing up as this professional when you're talking to collectors, when you're talking to galleries, when you're talking to people who are giving you an opportunity to do a massive commission. If you're talking to them like a hobbyist, it's not going to work. You've got to become that professional artist. And that's what I mean about identity. So there's inner work to be done. Then the outer identity is how you show up to the world in terms of your social media, your website, your branding. Is your branding all over the place? Have you, how you using different colors? Is your message all mixed up? Because branding's not just about a logo and a color. It's about your message. It's about your story. It's about what you say and repeat. It's about what you are known for. And so that's your outer identity. And whenever you get those two things right, it really, really, it helps with how you are seen and respected in the art world. So you come to talk about your art that's just got into an exhibition. And if you're showing up as a hobbyist artist or somebody not quite in the identity as a professional, you'll maybe be a little bit apologetic or, oh, it's not that good, or it's well, yeah, it's not as good as the one I did last week, or, something that's not confident, that's not a strong professional artist identity. So if I was showing up to an exhibition, I was discussing my work with people, I'd be saying, this one is my best work so far. I'm so proud of this collection. This is amazing. You show up with a different mindset, different way of thinking, and a different way of behaving. And that just seeps into everything that you do. And so your work is going to become more valuable, you're going to be more sought after. And also, when a collector invests in your art, they're also investing in you. They want to know the artist. They want to confidently purchase your art, knowing that the person behind the art is a professional artist that's, their work's probably going to raise in value over the years, that they're not some kind of like, you know, in and out, not bothered, does it on every, I don't know, every holiday season rather than every week, or, somebody who's inconsistent. So that's kind of what I mean about the identity. You're embodying this. And in order to be successful, and if you want to make money at your art, you have to do that. It's not going to work if you're staying within the mindset of a hobbyist who is apologizing for their work rather than showing up as, I'm the best artist you're going to come across. And it's not false confidence, because it's if your work is good enough to be in an exhibition, then you should be proud of it and you should be saying so, because there's nothing more attractive to a collector than the artist saying, this is work I am proud of. That gives them confidence to buy it. It kind of multiplies the trust that they have in you, because collectors don't invest in art and in you unless they know, like, and trust you beforehand. And they need to know that they're doing that with somebody who is a real artist. And we're all real artists no matter what stage we're at. So that's fine. But if you want to sell your art, I'm talking about that kind of bridge from hobbyist to a professional seller of their work. If you're in a space, like, for example, if you're with me on my art business course, I will be talking to you about this, and I will be highlighting the things that you need to work on, and that's going to get you there quicker. So if you don't know about an artist's professional identity, you will know after you've come and worked with me, because I'm going to help you get there. You know, doubting your work, doubting yourself is not the identity of a professional artist.
How do you bridge the gap of the inner and the outer identity?
So again, that takes a little bit of work, and it takes recognizing that you have to do the work and what that work is. It's all mindset work. It's all mindset work. It's about working on yourself, working on your confidence. And again, talking about the ego likes to keep you safe. So if for example, there's an opportunity there for you to step into your role as a professional artist and go and join an exhibition and get in there, what are you going to do? The hobbyist artist, oh no, I'm not good enough yet. Oh no, I won't do that. Depending on what you're feeling, the identity predicts your action, your behavior. So
So you start with the inward first
yeah,
to then reflect.
yeah,
So it comes outward. It's a byproduct.
it's a byproduct. So your branding is the outwards, how you present. Like if you show up to an art show and you're wearing like paint stained jeans, and that's fine. Yeah, you're definitely the identity of a artist with your paint stained jeans and your hands covered in paint. But you want to sell your art, so you're a professional. You also want to show that you are trustworthy. When people are handing over £1,000 for a painting, you know, you still have to show up as a professional business owner. So I'm really kind of talking about that kind of journey from not selling to selling, and being trustworthy as somebody who people will invest their money in your art. But yeah, so if you're in still in the hobbyist zone, that's fine if you want to stay in there, because some people only just want to do it as a hobby, and absolutely, because it's the most fulfilling, healing type of thing to do. It's so good for your mental health. It's so good just for your happiness. Nobody's pressurizing anybody to sell anything. But if you do get to the stage where you want to sell, you want to take this seriously, you got to take everything seriously, and you want to present yourself to the world, but once you embody that mindset of a professional artist, you're going to take advantage of opportunities. You're going to step out of your comfort zone a little bit more. You're going to challenge yourself more. You're going to raise your prices because you're a professional artist. You're going to be respected because that's who you are. It's the same when I was talking about the identity before, the identity of a millionaire. Like how do you feel? How do you walk? How do you act? What do you say as a professional artist compared to as a hobbyist artist, somebody who's not trying to sell? And again, it takes work. It takes, learning things to do and to get you to that point.
Can you talk to us about your own journey of identity at the moment? Because you have a lot of things in the pipeline for next year.
Mm-hmm.
You've manifested a lot. You have a lot of like big goals,
Yeah.
and you're working with people helping you with your own personal identity. Like,
Yeah.
can you share with us like what's going on for you at the moment?
So, so yeah, I mean, it's identity is one of those things that again is an evolution, and it's interesting because we I'm very aware of it because I'm working on it. But most people are just being it without knowing that they're being something. Does that make sense? But I know that it's a very powerful manifestation exercise and tool because when you embody the identity of the person that you want to become, so say you want to become a well respected artist who sells their paintings for 20K each, whatever, you know, what do you become? Who do you become? Who do you become in that person? So you have to think about how she feels, what's no bother to her, what she would do compared to the person who's selling for £100. So there's a big difference in how you'd act and feel. So start acting like that right now. Start acting
Even
like
if
that.
you don't feel it.
Even if you don't feel it, you start acting like that and then you start to feel it.
And is that true for you? Has that worked for you in the past?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I do that a lot. So what I do, and I don't really know what it's called, but it's a bit quantum journeying, leaping. It's like stepping off from, let's say you've got a piece of land here and there's a bridge and there's another piece of land here. And there's Ciara over there in one house and Ciara over here. And Ciara's walking across the bridge into the new Ciara, which is next year's Ciara, for example. And she's different than this year's Ciara because she's showing up more. She's creating new offers that are outside her comfort zone, that are challenging. But this is still the Ciara here who hasn't done those things yet. But in order to do them more quickly, how she would feel being that version of herself. It's like stepping into the highest version of yourself. You know, deep down from your higher self, your soul, you are limitless in your power. You can achieve anything. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And so when you start to imagine it, it's not just your imagination, it's you tapping into that version of you that's possible because anything is possible. And if you start to kind of like spend some time with this person, this new person, and imagine what she's feeling, what she's seeing, what she's thinking, what she's doing, then that's that comes over here to this Ciara quicker.
But it's you doing the work of
You have to do the work.
every single
I
day.
spend work, I spend about an hour every day doing this type of work. So we're talking about meditation, that which is the best thing for me. Just breath work. So like just 3 breaths and then being really, really still and quietening your mind. And sometimes just information comes and sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't matter. But it's just part of kind of switching off from what's going on and bringing yourself back to who you truly are as a soul in a physical body on this earth, just experiencing life. And yeah, embodying the identity of who you want to become is an exercise in itself that you can do to kind of bridge the gap between who you are now and where you want to be in, say, 6 months' time or 6 years' time, depending on what it is you want to be, do. But it is about feeling the emotion. So the Ciara who's done all of these things that's on her to-do list, how does she feel? Well, she feels extremely proud of herself. She feels really grateful that she's been able to do it, and blessed, really blessed. I do a lot of guided meditations, and that really helps me to work on the identity of where I want to be in like next year, the year after. And I've done a lot of work recently on that, and that's why I'm sitting here today, because I couldn't have done this had I not done that work. Because I was too scared
See, you're
of,
about to say, yeah, you
yes,
corrected
I correct
yourself.
myself. I was too scared to show up and be vulnerable and talk about stuff to do with my journey and my art and my business and my manifesting work.
That's so hard to believe. That's like I'm truly shocked by that. It just comes so naturally too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. But yeah, I have been working hard on that. And I think another thing is, whenever I was growing up, if you were too confident or if you talked a lot about yourself, like, this feels very kind of, self-indulgent. Yeah. So that would have been very much frowned upon whenever I was growing up. So I grew up with that belief. But what that was actually doing was suppressing my ability to share what I what what I can teach and help others with in this art journey, because it can be a roller coaster being an artist. And if I can make that any easier for people, if I can inspire people, if I can let them know that it's okay if you do the work, especially the mindset work is incredibly important. If you're sitting there with all these negative beliefs and limited beliefs, but that's all you're going to ever believe and attract. You got to switch it up. You got to work on your mindset. And when you do, then it's fine. Everything's great. In fact, it's unbelievable.
Mm. And when
Um,
did that change for you?
I suppose about 7 years ago, whenever I switched and I started doing like as soon as you start doing the thing that is part of you, like your soul work, like your passion, like, me mixed, like my love of painting, my love of all the things that inspire me, plus the energy, plus, trying to paint energy that you can't see. I mean, that's when it all changed, because I was just being myself. And I mightn't have been as vocal about it there or just as crystal clear, but the paintings were there to be crystal clear. Whether I said it or not, people could feel it anyway. So that's when it changed for me. But up until that point, I'd been gradually moving my way up in terms of my mindset and reading lots of books, doing lots of work. Um, but yeah, it sped up, I suppose, at that point. Things
Yeah, because it
sped up.
sounds like you've been doing this work really all your life. Like you
Yeah.
even said 20 years ago you had those
The
things in the
dream.
books
Yeah.
and like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sure language like that didn't really
Yeah.
exist that much back then in comparison to now. So
Yeah.
it's innate in
Oh,
you.
yeah. So I would have been very, very secretive about that kind of stuff back then, because I read The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. That was the first book that kind of got me into this manifesting um like journey. And to me, it was, when I read it, it was like, seriously, really? So that's what I can do, and that's how it works. Not sure about this. So I do lots of tests. Love doing tests. So send me this amount of money, buy this date. Send me this, buy this, to see if it worked. And it always did. It always did. And the amount of synchronicities that have happened when, I've asked for something and it comes in a, like, oh my gosh, this has just happened because, like, for flip's sake, this is ridiculously quick, and so obvious. I've just asked for this, and now you've sent me this person, or you've sent me this information, or whatever. And you just be open to it and you allow it. You don't doubt it. You don't go, oh gosh, that was just a coincidence. Well, no, it wasn't a coincidence, because I just asked for that and it came. It may not have always, it doesn't always come in the way that you specifically ask. normally it's something even better, which is really good.
I love that. Who are you becoming as an artist? Like, you're obviously established. You've got all your dreams. You've got your dream house. Like,
Yeah.
what's the next phase of Ciara
So
Gilmore?
I don't always like to say exactly, because I think it's an evolution, and s- I know where I want to go, and I know where I'm being pulled towards, which I don't quite want to go there yet, but I can feel the pull. We were talking about it earlier today, like doing retreats and things like that. Um, that's maybe not next year, but next year I'm definitely exploring with my students more of this spiritual manifestation identity work. And
So this is really important to you then.
oh yeah, it's everything. It's how you do it. It's how you do it. You need this on top of everything else to press the accelerator button. That's what it is, the accelerator button. And it speeds everything up. And you can you can keep trudging along and doing what you're meant to do. But when you do this kind of work, everything escalates, catapults. It's like a magnet, to whatever you want, and it draws it in quickly. So this type of work is really important. And I can't wait to share it, because I haven't been sharing it up to this point. I have only been sharing mindset work, meditations, that type of thing. But there's other stuff that I want to share, real powerful stuff that I want to share with people to help them accelerate their journey to where they want to be, to help them get to the best and highest versions of themselves, not just with art, but in their life.
And is that because you feel like you're at a point now where you have walked the walk to then feel confident to share with other people?
I suppose I have. Yeah, I've got to that point. But this is always something I've wanted to do. And I've always done it in little tiny ways, along the way. So you probably don't know this, but I used to have a business called Little White Feathers. And it was where I would do Reiki and integrated energy work and things like that. And I would also work with angels as well, which again, I don't talk a lot about, but I do. And so there's so many things that I'm talking about today that are so open to people judging me. And, that's why I've not spoken about those things up to this point. And even people really close to me may not even know this either. Um, but, the world is so open to these spiritual um, gifts and ways of living now. It's lovely to be able to talk about them more freely. But I've always been this has always been something that I've been leading up towards, if you know what I mean. It's always been there. And eh, the nice thing about this is that it's now kind of merged into my creative space, so that I can help creatives who traditionally have struggled or think they have to struggle. But we'll see. It's just an evolution. So everything that I do and will always happen at the right time, and I'll feel the push to do something, or to create something new. But I definitely, I love teaching painting and I love teaching business skills, but what I love the most is teaching this type of work.
Because it's so transformative
Mm-hmm.
and it's the thing, it seems to be the foundation of how you for your dream life. And I'm sure it must be so satisfying for you to see someone at the start when they have no clue what this is. And then, like you
Yeah,
said, some of the successful students in your
yeah,
art
yeah,
courses of like they're selling their
yeah.
work, they
Selling
having,
their work. Yeah,
yeah. So you have the evidence and
yeah.
yeah, it's very exciting and people should go sign up to your art course.
They should sign up to my art course and my art business course,
Yeah.
because they're brilliant.
Okay.
Thanks for listening to our episode, and I'll see you in the next one.